It gives me great pleasure to do this video because, as you may or may not know, I'm a professional tennis player. And I'm interested in tennis as a spiritual pursuit. And that's the next advancement of tennis that I feel. And I was able to witness yesterday one of the most wonderful matches I ever saw. It was Monica Puig of Puerto Rico winning the first gold medal, or I think any medal, for Puerto Rico in the Olympics. And it was a fabulous match, beating a great player, number 2 in the world, and actually the woman is a player that is playing number 1. Well, here's the point. Monica Puig, who is an up-and-coming champion, was never able to win a match, a big match. And actually, she played Kerber before and lost, even leading 4-1 in the third set. So what was it about yesterday's match that she was able to overcome some of her trepidations, fears, and inadequacies? The reason why she was able to overcome these fears, these losing motifs, was that she was not playing for herself. Yesterday, she played for Puerto Rico. She played for a country. She represented people. In all the other matches she's ever played, she comes from Puerto Rico, but she was playing for herself, for an individual. This time she was playing for a country. By playing for a country, her individuality was subsumed and incorporated into her desire for the picking up of the group, for being a benefit of the community. So tennis, therefore, was transformed and transcended the individual self and was able to play for the group self, the country. She had a country behind her. She was playing for the country. It transcended the individual, and that's part of what the spiritual approach is. From now on, after having had this breakthrough, she will always, in a certain sense, be known as the Olympic champion, and therefore she has this underpinning of community to foster her own individuality up. The true individual is one that represents a community and fosters that community. And this is true in Judaism, too. And this is what I say the Olympics is all about. The Olympics is all about this transcendence of self. Because all these performers, all these athletes come, and they form one grand community. It's a community of athletics which actually transcends the nations that they represent. In a certain sense, the nations become individuals within the community of the world, represented through athletics, which is the highest level because it celebrates the body. Remember that the original the original Olympics, the Greek Olympics, was a celebration for Zeus, at Mount Olympus. It's almost a sacrifice of athleticism to the god, athleticism through the body, spirituality through the body. And what we saw yesterday in Monica Puig is this spirituality elevated through the body. And only the body can elevate to that type of spirituality. She became a focal point through a physical pursuit, an elevation of the individual self. Remember, there are different aspects of the self. There's a physical, an emotional, an intellectual, and then a spiritual self. What she did was that she elevated her whole totality to a spiritual domain and the spiritual self. This was a beautiful thing to be part of and to watch. And we expect to see greater things from her in the future. And all the tennis players, there were certain technical things that she did yesterday also that I could comment on. Her super backhand is produced with a gap between the two hands, which facilitates a left-hand dominance. And she uses the right hand as a grip, almost like a pole, and then sweeps over and flattens out and pronates with that left hand more than any other player. And so what we saw was a tremendous technique which permitted the spiritual to be aggressive, so to speak, fearless. When asked if, could she beat the person, she says, I am playing for history. Well, when you play for history and a community, you're playing beyond yourself. When you do something beyond yourself, then you're doing something in the spiritual domain. This is the same thing. She is an example for the community, that raises the community, that raises her. And so now we expect, and this is something from a spiritual point of view, I want anybody who hears this to follow what happens now with Monica Puig and see how this elevates her, how it was a breakthrough, how she needed the Olympics to break through for individuality. She needed the community to break through for individuality. And you can only be an individual when you're part of the community. And who, like a true sense of an individual, like the Rebbe was a true sense of an individual. Why? Because he biddled his individuality for the sake of the total community. And that's what each person is supposed to do. Each person's spark is supposed to be subsumed within the community. Why? Because all Jews are one. So if all Jews are one, you are all Jews. And so this is what happened yesterday with her. All Puerto Rico was her. She had the energy and the representation of an entire, whatever it's called, state, country. She had a whole people, a whole history of people. She was the focal point. And so she received the energy of the community, which brings somebody up. And you represent a group rather than yourself. This is shown in in Torah studies and Kabbalah studies and things like that, when you have 1 in 60, when you have, you say, the 1 in 60, so this individual is one who's subsumed in the 60, and the elevation is from the 60. And then you find the true one. So this was a great pleasure to watch yesterday. Why? Because the technique was mind-boggling. The technique was the exact technique that I show in my thing, and actually in her two-handed backhand, she's had the most left-hand dominance I've ever seen. It was virtually a left-hand shot, and just gripped on with the right hand. For those in tennis, they'll know that I propose a 2-forehand tennis game. In other words, a shift into the left hand only, and not use a two-handed backhand. And this is part of the evolution of tennis, to become a complete, total individual, and to elevate the self and the game and the community by opening up the left hand. The left hand is a very dominant thing in Judaism, because when one is a right-handed person, we put tefillin on the left hand. And this shows the importance of the left hand. And so, I'm doing this commentary today to show the importance of the community in the individual, and how Monica Puig did this for Puerto Rico in an amazing result. And she knows that she represented the community and history. In her interviews, she said that she's uniting Puerto Rico. They've had tough times, and she's had it too. And so she's uniting Puerto Rico. Wow. She did it through tennis, and that's the spiritual aspect of tennis. And that's the tennis spirituality that I speak about, and that I'm going to speak about more. Because the body is the temple. And what a wonderful day to talk about this temple on the day we observe Tisha B'Av, because the body is the temple. The body is the Mishkan. The body is the vehicle. And only through this higher sense of the body can we understand a true source. A true spiritual source is manifested down here in the physical plane within the body. And so more power to Monica Puig for showing this to us and being an example to bring down spirituality into the physical plane.